He had long stopped believing that miracles could happen. Life had taught him that sometimes, no matter how kind or patient you are, people leave, hearts break, and dreams fall apart. Daniel was a single father, quiet, hardworking, and gentle, a man who spent his evenings helping his little boy with homework and his nights staring at the ceiling, wondering how to build a better future. His wife had passed away 3 years ago in a car accident, leaving him to raise their 5-year-old son, Liam, alone. Since then, the house had been filled with silence. Only the laughter of his son kept Daniel going. Every smile from Liam reminded him that love was still alive somewhere, even in the ruins of heartbreak. One cold, rainy evening, Daniel was driving home from work when he saw something unusual on the side of the road. A woman was standing in the storm, clutching 2 little girls in her arms. Their clothes were soaked, their faces pale, and the fear in their eyes struck him like lightning. Without thinking, Daniel stopped the car. He stepped out, his umbrella barely holding against the wind. "Are you all right?" he asked. The woman didn't speak at first. Her lips trembled as she held the twins closer. "Please, we just need somewhere to stay for tonight," she whispered. Her voice was tired, broken, and desperate. Daniel didn't ask questions. He didn't need to. He opened the car door and said softly, "Get in. It's okay. You're safe now." The drive was quiet. The twins clung to their mother's hands, too afraid to speak. Daniel turned on the heater, handed them his jacket, and silently prayed that he was doing the right thing. When they reached his small house, Liam ran to the door. "Dad, you're late," but his excitement froze when he saw the strangers. "Liam," Daniel said gently, "these are our guests for tonight. Be kind, okay?" The little boy nodded. He brought towels, helped Daniel make warm soup, and even offered his favorite blanket to one of the twins. That night, as Daniel watched the woman sitting silently near the fire, he noticed her hands shaking. He finally asked, "Do you want to tell me what happened?" She hesitated, but the warmth of his tone melted her fear. "My name is Emily," she began. "These are my daughters, Grace and Hope. My husband died last year, and his family blamed me for everything. They said I was a curse. Last week, they threw us out with nothing. I tried to find work, a place to stay, but no one wanted a woman with 2 children. We've been sleeping outside for 2 days." Her voice cracked. Daniel's heart tightened. He couldn't imagine the strength it took for her to survive that long. He didn't say much. He just listened, and in that silence, something inside him changed. He saw a reflection of his own pain in her story, a loneliness that mirrored his own. Over the next few days, Daniel helped Emily get back on her feet. He found her clean clothes, helped her contact a women's shelter, and made sure the twins had food and warmth. Liam quickly became friends with Grace and Hope. The house began to sound alive again, with laughter, giggles, and the tiny footsteps of children playing. At first, Daniel told himself that it was only temporary. He was just helping them until they found a place to stay. But the truth was, he had grown attached to all 3 of them. Emily, too, began to notice how peaceful life felt in that small home. Daniel was nothing like the men she had known. He was patient, respectful, and kind. He never asked for anything in return. He just gave, quietly, selflessly, as if helping them was a gift to himself. One afternoon, while folding laundry, Emily found Liam's drawing on the kitchen table. It showed 2 families standing together, a man, a woman, and 3 children, holding hands under a bright sun. At the bottom, in messy crayon letters, it said, "My family." Tears filled her eyes. That simple drawing said everything her heart couldn't. Weeks turned into months. Daniel helped Emily find a job at a local bakery. The twins started school with Liam, and for the first time in years, Daniel began to feel complete. The emptiness that had once haunted his nights was replaced with laughter at the dinner table, messy breakfasts, and tiny goodnight hugs. But deep inside, both Daniel and Emily were afraid to speak what they felt. They had lost too much before. They were scared to hope again. One evening, Emily came home from work looking worried. She sat quietly for a while before saying, "Daniel, the shelter finally found us an apartment. We can move in next week." Daniel froze. He forced a smile and said, "That's great. I'm happy for you." But his heart sank. That night, he couldn't sleep. The thought of waking up to an empty house again broke him. He realized he wasn't just helping Emily out of kindness, he loved her. And he loved those 2 little girls as if they were his own. The next morning, as Emily packed a few things, Liam ran to her and cried, "Please don't go. You're my family." Emily hugged him tightly, tears streaming down her face. She looked up at Daniel, searching for words, but he just smiled sadly. Before she left, she turned back and said softly, "Daniel, you saved us when we had nothing. I'll never forget that." He nodded, but his silence said everything. Goodbye was breaking him. Days passed. The house returned to its old quiet self. But it wasn't the same anymore. The laughter was gone, and so was the warmth. Daniel tried to stay busy, but even Liam had grown quieter. Then one evening, just as the sun began to set, there was a knock at the door. Daniel opened it, and there they were. Emily, Grace, and Hope stood on the porch, smiling through tears. "We couldn't do it," Emily said. "The girls cried all day. They missed you. We all did. So, if you still want us here." Daniel didn't let her finish. He stepped forward, tears in his eyes, and said, "You never had to ask." That night, as they sat around the dinner table again, laughter filled the room. It wasn't just noise, it was healing. It was love reborn. Months later, Daniel and Emily got married in a small ceremony, surrounded by the children who had brought them together. There were no grand decorations, no fancy music, just the sound of happiness echoing through a home that had once been filled with silence. And as Daniel looked at his new family, he realized something powerful. Sometimes miracles don't come as thunder or light, they arrive quietly, through kindness, through love, through the courage to open your door when someone needs you most. He never planned to fall in love again. He never expected that one simple act of compassion would change his life forever. But that's the beauty of life. When you give love without expecting anything, life finds a way to return it to you in the most unexpected, miraculous form. And for Daniel, that miracle was not just Emily or the twins, it was the family he thought he'd lost, reborn in a way he could have never dreamed.